Hello, my dear friend. Hope you are doing great today. We will continue our journey with The Leader Who Had No Title book. In the previous video, we went through image and spark rules with the two teachers. If you haven't heard that clip, go and listen to it. And now grab your coffee and let's dive in. Blake and Tom went to a very large library and went up to the roof so Tom could show Blake the view from above. There they met a man who was the third teacher. Blake was really excited, honestly, because he had met Anna and Tiwai and learned amazing things from them. So he was curious about the third teacher and excited for the information he would receive from this third teacher. And now we join with the third teacher. When Tom and Blake went up to the roof, they found the third teacher, whose name was Jackson, and he appeared to be in his 60s. Jackson shook hands with Blake, and they introduced themselves. Jackson was growing flowers on the library roof in a beautifully arranged pattern, giving life to the place. They sat down and Jackson brought a plate of biscuits and tea, and they sat talking. Tom said to Blake, "Jackson has the great vision that took this rooftop space and turned it into a beautiful garden. He worked according to his vision to achieve this beautiful result in view, even though the people working in the library thought the idea was stupid and couldn't imagine an oasis of beauty here." Blake replied, "It's admirable, and I've never seen anything like it." They laughed and talked for a while, and then Jackson said he would teach Blake a principle of the third philosophy about leadership, and that he would give him a summary outlining the 5 practical rules. Blake asked, "What is this principle?" Jackson replied, "It is a principle that is largely forgotten in this fast-paced, technology-driven world in which we find ourselves working. The deeper your relationships, the stronger your leadership. The core work is to connect with people and add value to them. This is a crucial point to remember as you build your career and create a fulfilling and rich life." He said business is about people. The business world today has largely forgotten that the game is about relationships and human connection. With the pace at which people work, it's easy to sacrifice relationships in the pursuit of results. But the paradox is, the stronger your bonds with your colleagues and the clients you work for, the stronger the results. The other purposes of business are very simple too. The most successful business people and greatest organizations cling to the basics rather than overcomplicating things. Business is a means to help others, to enable employees to realize their human potential, and to help your clients achieve their highest aspirations. When you awaken the inner leader within and deliver more value to stakeholders than anyone could expect, the inevitable result should be that people will beat a path to your front door. You'll not only feel the profound meaning that comes from doing good, but the profits that will pour into your organization will astound you. Money follows service. The more value you create for your constituents, from co-workers to customers, the more stunning financial success your organization will witness, and you'll thrive in your own career. So all you need to do is treat people decently and be exceptionally cooperative in every way you can, and personal success will be an inevitable byproduct. It's very simple, really, but we humans make it more complicated than it needs to be. Everything is changing and changing rapidly. Those who don't understand this new way of doing business will be left behind. The old values that people used to work by have shattered. They don't work in these totally different conditions we now find ourselves in. Technology, globalization, and the massive upheaval happening in society have created a new world of business, and those who resist the change and cling fearfully to tradition will go extinct. My dear friend, all you need to do is treat people extremely well if you're serious about reaching your highest potential in business. Go above and beyond for your customers, and play your part in developing the capabilities of your team members. If you want to win, you have to help others win. Part of that is doing everything you can to build a high-performance culture inside your organization. A culture where everyone understands the excellence they're capable of achieving. So part of your job now becomes unleashing the greatness within people who may have never seen the greatness inside themselves. Regardless of position, you now know full well that you don't need a title to be a leader. You don't have to be a manager to bring out the best in your colleagues and have a profound impact on your organization's culture. And you don't need to be a CEO to build tremendous relationships with every stakeholder so they rave about your products and services. You only need to dedicate yourself each day to bringing your best and making an amazing difference in others' lives. That's all that's required. And if you're surrounded by engaged, energized, excellent people operating at their highest capacity, your organization will perform brilliantly, not just in times of prosperity, but through difficult days too. If you study the best companies, you'll find that each didn't just have teams of people giving their utmost. They had teams of people with profoundly connective relationships. Business is conversational, and if the culture of the place you work forgets to nurture that dialogue and feed the human bonds between every one of you, the conversation will end quickly, and the business will crumble rapidly. Jackson said to Blake, "Your mantra will always be that you can't afford not to spend time connecting with the people you spend most of your waking hours with. Think about it, Blake. You spend the prime hours of the prime years of your life with the people you work with. Doesn't it make sense to really get to know them and have amazing relationships with them? Friendships will form. You'll feel a sense of belonging, a supportive community around you. And once your colleagues see you starting to have their backs, they'll reciprocate. The law of reciprocity is one of the most powerful drivers of human relations. When you genuinely help others, they'll do anything to genuinely help you back. When you show up fully for a colleague, that colleague will show up fully for you. It's human nature at work. Help others succeed and they'll help make you successful. But before anyone extends a hand to help you, you have to touch their hearts. And please remember that leaders without title help people achieve more as a team than they could ever achieve alone. That's the key point. And remember that leaders without title always take the first step. Don't wait for someone else to reach out to you before you start the connecting process. Take the lead. If you want more support, give more support. If you want more appreciation, give more appreciation. If you want more respect, give more respect. You have to give first, and then it will come back to you abundantly. For giving starts the receiving process. Jackson said to Blake, "There used to be a company I worked for that gave employees a test, and one of the questions was, write the name of the company's custodian, the elderly man who cleans our offices every night." Jackson said frankly that he had no idea. He had seen the man sweeping and taking out the trash on the nights he worked late, but he hadn't taken the time to get to know him. He didn't think it was important. The man was just a cleaner. Jackson failed the test. No one could pass without accurately answering that question. He said he learned a lesson that day that he still carries with him today. Everyone inside an organization matters. Everyone inside an institution matters. Everyone in the business realm needs to be engaged and connected. Blake asked if Jackson knew the custodian, and Jackson replied, "The man I had dismissed as unimportant turned out to be someone who spent most of his free time working with underprivileged children and had read books on philosophy far more than I had in my life, and was one of the most culturally literate conversationalists I've known. Every single person you meet, regardless of their position or appearance, is someone's son or daughter. Everyone has a story worth listening to, and lessons worth learning. So, my dear friend, keep nurturing each and every one of your relationships, with family, colleagues, customers, and you will perform well. And when it comes to work colleagues, please remember, as you feed those relationships, make sure to develop the people too. Try to see the best in people and cultivate a culture where they can flourish, just as a great gardener understands that soil is a vital consideration, not just for a plant's survival, but for its growth. And remember, people do business with people they like. People do business with people they trust. People do business with people who make them feel special. And now our mentor Jackson is going to give us rules, just like we got rules from TY and Anna. Do you remember their rules? It was image and then spark. If you haven't listened to those videos, I really encourage you to go listen to them, because they're beneficial. Now, with the word human, we're going to take rules from these letters. The first letter is H, which stands for helpfulness. As I mentioned earlier, business is largely about being helpful to others. So one of the most powerful mindsets for mastering leadership is to always strive to do more than your job description calls for. Your compensation will always be a direct derivative of your contribution. He said that human beings have this deep human hunger inside them, whether they realize it or not. Each of us wants to know that we're expanding our capabilities and growing as people. Each of us wants to know that no matter what we're doing for work, we're making a difference in some way. And we all want to know that we're living in a way that when we get to the end of our life, we won't feel like we wasted it. Nobody wants to reach their deathbed looking back on a life that amounted to nothing. And this brings us to the letter U for understanding. To build truly elevated relationships, you won't just need to be incredibly helpful. You'll also need to become a master at understanding people. Listen intently, speak little, and listen more. You might think calling yourself a good listener is an easy skill, but that wouldn't be accurate. If it were so easy, then why is the person who truly knows how to listen intently a rarity? How many people do you know who, when you talk to them, make you feel like the world around them stops because they go into a real trance with what you're saying and what will come out of your mouth next? How many people do you know who listen so intently that they seem capable of hearing the silence between each of your words? There aren't many around us, which gives you a huge opportunity to rise above the crowd and build your reputation as an outstanding leader without a title. And it stems from your willingness to make that extra effort. Very few people are willing to do anything to achieve excellence. Most people's idea of listening is simply waiting for the other person to stop talking so they can jump in with the reply they were rehearsing in their head. For most of us, our egos are screaming so loudly that we can't hear what anyone else is saying. Most people can't listen well. Blake asked, "Why not?" For a number of reasons. First, many of us suffer from accumulated attentional deficit disorder. So many messages, ads, and inputs bombard us every day that it makes our heads spin. Never before have humans had this massive amount of distractions available to them. It scrambles our minds and dissipates our energy. It makes attention incredibly scarce and a precious commodity. And with all the things we're processing, we don't have much attention left over to give to the people talking to us. It's a crime because they feel it. One of the deepest human cravings is the need to be understood. We all have a voice inside of us. We all want to express it. And when we feel someone has taken the time to truly hear it and appreciate it, we open up to that person. Our trust in them, our respect for them, our loyalty to them grows exponentially. Most of us are incredibly insecure beings, so when we go to work each day, we want people to think we're smart, strong, unflappable. It's pure ego. And we get stuck in that old model of leadership that says the best leader is the one who talks the most, loudest, and listens the least. We make the mistake of thinking that the person talking the most has all the answers. It's wrong. Leadership is about listening. It's allowing others to feel heard. It takes a great person to do that. Some people really believe listening is an easy skill, but in reality, it's incredibly difficult. And it takes a brave person to turn down the volume on their ego and tune up their listening. It takes a strong, confident human being to be quiet enough to let other people's ideas be given air and their voices be heard. Here's the payoff for becoming genuinely good at understanding people and listening intently to them. You're giving them a gift very few people ever receive. Most people will go through their entire lives without anyone ever showing them what skilled listening looks and feels like. And why? Because we're all ridiculously busy and preoccupied in our heads. That's just an excuse, of course. But when you earnestly listen, when listening becomes something radically different from merely hearing, the speaker begins to feel understood. Their hunger to have their voice heard begins to become satisfied. They feel safe. Trust increases. Then guess what happens next? They start slowly letting down their guard, the armor they put on each morning before leaving the safety of their homes and venturing out into a harsh, fast world. They start dismantling the protective wall they've built against the disapproval and dismissal they expect from people in their lives. That person starts to see that you genuinely care about them. That person starts to sense that you want them to win. That person begins to realize that you have their best interests in mind, and so they start giving you more themselves. The letter M for mingle, being present to connect with your colleagues and engage with your customers. There is amazing value in mingling. Positive outcomes and wonderful victories you never expected start to show up just because you're interacting with the people you work alongside. When people see your face, you become visible. They get to know you, and they start liking you. And always remember, people love doing business with people they like. The letter A for amuse. Have some fun. Most of us think work has to be deadly serious. We're afraid that if we laugh and allow some enjoyment and playfulness at the right moments, people will think we're goofing off and being unproductive. Having some fun while you're doing great work will actually help amplify your productivity. Fun makes you more engaged in what you're doing. Fun makes you want to collaborate more. And when people are having fun, the entire energy of their organization rises to higher and higher levels. When people enjoy themselves at work, their stress levels go down. They're more willing to do the unexpected to meet every customer's needs, and they're more eager to work harder. Remember the value of having fun and being engaging when you walk into work each day. And remember the need to amuse and engage all the colleagues around you, as you're now a leader without a title. The last letter N stands for nurture, to nourish and support those around you. Be amazingly kind. Being kind doesn't mean being weak. Please don't confuse kindness with weakness. Leaders without a title masterfully balance being caring yet strong. Yes, they absolutely put people and relationships first, but no one's saying they don't demand highest performance and utmost commitment and most amazing results. They manage to be nurturing yet tough at the same time. It's a rare balance point for them to strike. But with dedication and practice, you'll get there. And if you think being kind as a business strategy is just plain obvious, then why do so few people actually practice it? It takes a sophisticated understanding of human dynamics to see the best in people who need to be seen at their best. You have to see people accurately for who they are, yet always treat them with a level of respect and kindness that propels them rapidly toward every dream you sensed they could accomplish. Carve out time each day amid the craziness of your duties to nurture relationships. Offer everyone around you a smile, a positive word, a gesture of caring. Those actions aren't the mark of a weak person. No, those are the actions of a boldly caring leader. So be nurturing, be outrageously caring, be exceptionally kind. Leave every person you encounter better, happier, more engaged than you found them. Then watch what that does for your career and your life. The principle simply speaks to the reality that people feel an automatic heightened commitment and desire to reciprocate the kindness and support someone else has offered them. We have this innate human tendency to want to be good to the people who've been good to us. So by creating value for others and being exceptionally kind to them, you set up that desire within them to give back. You, of course, want to be doing all this from a place of genuine goodwill. You want to be kind to people because it's the right thing to do versus doing it to manipulate them into feeling obliged to give you what you want. Helping and giving without any real expectation of getting something in return is a true gift. Anything less than that is not a gift at all. And when you give from this generous mindset, as I say, amazing positive outcomes show up on your path. Take 5 minutes right now to think about the person who has had the biggest positive impact on you. What are the 3 things that made them so outstanding? How can you bring those qualities/behaviors/ways of being into your work and family life starting today? That's it for this episode. I hope you had a great time. I can't wait to see you in the next episode where we will continue our journey together. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day.